What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another YouTube. Welcome to the channel. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe here, like today's video, comment on today's video, and also go check me out on Instagram at Blaine Riley Lifts and also on TikTok. Today it's actually super nice out, so for today's leg day, we're actually gonna ride the motorcycle to the gym. But because it is the day before Christmas Eve, this is kind of the last video that I'm gonna record before Christmas and all that shenanigans. I figured, you know what, we're gonna wear the PJs to the gym. My family on Christmas is a little more laid back. We really don't get formal. We don't like dress up for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day event. We kind of just like to wear our pajamas, kind of just relax, hang out. So today I figured, you know what, in the Christmas spirit, we're gonna go ahead and wear our PJs for the leg day. Thankfully, leg days are pretty easy to do in pajama bottoms. A lot of people already wear pajama bottoms in the gym already, so I think we're gonna be just fine. But because it is starting to get cold and I'm gonna start wrenching on the Harley here soon, putting the new hardtail on it and doing all the new modifications to it, this might be my last time to actually get a long ride on it. I took it out the other day to film some videos and stuff, but today's gonna probably be the last day that I can actually go on like a longer than 20-minute ride on it. So we're gonna take it to the gym. We gotta put some gas in it, but then we're gonna go hit our legs. Quickly, before we get into all that, I wanna remind you guys that I have a Christian lifter community. It's completely free. Go down in the description, you can find the link to that school community that I've created where you guys can interact with me, we can interact with each other, and just share our love for the gym, Christ, and just any topics that we want to talk about. On there you can find all of my courses. I even have a 6-week workout program and also one-on-one coaching with myself. If you need guidance with working out and nutrition, you can schedule a call with me and we can get you squared away with one-on-one coaching. Here we are, got the Harley out. She's all warmed up. She's all ready to go. Let's go kill today's leg day. Okay, so as you saw, starting with some Smith squats with the slant board. Now, slant board is pretty gnarly. It's pretty high incline, but it feels pretty good. I really have to kind of sit back on it so I don't fall forward, but it feels really good. Hips and angles of the knees feel good. Ankles feel good. We'll go to failure 2 more times. On that last set, we'll probably do failure, rest, failure, drop set. Outside of that, we'll probably spam out some extensions, spam out some curls. Oh. All right, so did some hack squat or pendulum squat and kind of treated them like sissy squats almost. So we did our 3 sets, last set to failure, rest, failure, drop set on the Smith squat, and then went over to the pendulum, did 4 sets of just feet very far back, so knees over toes, treated it really a lot how we would do, you know, a sissy squat holding onto something. Really focused on, you know, driving those knees out and then driving them back. Killed the outside of my quad here. So now we're just gonna move on to a few sets of quad extensions. Probably, I'm thinking 4 or 5, and then we'll move on to our hamstrings. Probably do a curl, probably do a hinge of some kind, and get on out of here. All right, so we're gonna move on to quad extensions now. Nothing crazy, right? Really hard squeeze up. I almost like to think of the quad almost as I'm raising that weight, I'm squeezing the quad up, almost like it's a big bicep. Kind of thinking about how the muscles connect at my knee all the way to my hip. I'm bringing that leg up and I'm squeezing that together like a big bicep. And that's kind of my mind to muscle cues there. I'm kind of worn out, so hard to explain, but really spam those out. And honestly, you could come in on a day where, you know, maybe you're beat up or maybe, you know, you're injured or something. You can come in and do 8 sets of extensions, 8 sets of sissy squats, then move on to, you know, some kind of hamstrings. You don't always have to do a compound movement or a squat variation. They're great, right? Because they're so inclusive with your glutes, your hammies, your quad. You know, it's such a compound movement. It works your back and it like kills so many birds with one stone. That's why squatting is so awesome. But at the same time, if you're beat up or you're worn out, come in here. Doesn't mean you can't have a good workout. Just come in here and, you know, do extensions, do some sissy squats, and then move on from there. At least quad wise. All right, so you're gonna see me do a lot of quad during my leg days. And the reason for this, and I'll kind of compare it to my arms, is that similar to arms, how like I can do a whole arm day filled with triceps, right? It's gonna take a while for those triceps, depending on what I'm doing. It's gonna take a while for those to really burn and be fatigued. But you do 2 or 3 really solid sets of a bicep movement, it gets a good stretch, good curl, then your biceps are gonna be fried. Same goes for quads and hamstrings. If you think about the joint, right? If you were to turn your leg into an arm, your hamstring would be your bicep in a sense, if that makes sense. So I do a lot more quad because when I move on to hamstrings, I can do 4 sets of hamstring curls and my hammies are fried. And I think it's just a lot easier to target. The machines are a lot better at targeting hamstrings. I'm not saying you can't get a good quad exercise in, but the fatigue to time ratio is a lot better for hamstrings. Something to consider. I wouldn't be ashamed if you are doing more time on quads. I just think the muscles are, 1, fatigue out differently, and 2, just because the way the joint is, you're able to target the hamstrings a lot better. Okay, so to wrap the leg day up, 3 or 4 sets, and we'll go pose down after this. All right, so that's gonna be the leg day for today. Feeling really pumped. I gotta figure out like the best posing spot here because it's not ideal just because it is pretty compact in there, but I do like the style of the gym in general, so it might be worth, you know, sacrificing having the best lighting. I know there is really good lighting over by the dumbbells, but I don't want to be dropping my drawers in the middle of the gym. But yeah, like always, keeping it pretty simple. Smith squat is probably the hardest thing we do, and then we move on to an assortment of extensions, sissy squats, and leg curls, sometimes some sort of hinging motion, and that's really it, just spamming those out. And like I said, you can honestly don't even have to do a hack squat, or you don't really have to do a pendulum or Smith machine squat or any squat really. If you don't feel like it some days, you can just come in, spam out those quad extensions, spam out those leg curls, and if you are going to do that, make sure you're not doing that every workout. Otherwise, you know, you'll lead to some imbalances, especially in the hips and glutes. You know, I wouldn't overthink it. The biggest thing is getting yourself in here and going hard. So we're gonna go ahead, hop on the Harley, ride home. It's getting dark here, and I'm sure it's getting cold, so we're gonna have to nestle down and drive the 25 minutes home.